They told me never to walk down Adewale Street after midnight. They said the walls there could hear, and the shadows could speak. I used to laugh at those stories, urban myths passed down to scare children into staying indoors. But on the night I broke that rule, the shadows didn't just speak. They called my name. It started with a fight I didn't want. My landlord had banged on my door at 11 p.m., screaming about overdue rent. I didn't have the money, and his threats felt heavier than usual that night. My apartment walls were closing in, my mind racing. So I decided to go for a walk, to clear my head. I didn't even realize my feet were carrying me toward Adewale Street until I saw the flicker of its single broken streetlight in the distance. The air there was different, thicker, colder, even though it was the middle of the dry season. The buildings leaned toward each other like conspirators whispering in the dark. Windows glinted with faint reflections, as if something inside was watching. The street was empty, but every step I took felt like someone else was matching it. I turned sharply, nothing. Still, the feeling of being followed clung to me like damp clothes. Halfway down the street, I heard it. My name. Faint, but clear. Daniel, I froze. It came again, from somewhere ahead. My chest tightened. Nobody called me Daniel except my mother, and she'd been gone for 3 years. I should have turned back. But curiosity has a way of dragging you toward your own undoing. I kept walking until I saw an old woman sitting on a low wooden stool beside a crumbling wall. Her eyes were milky white, her hands resting on a basket full of wilted flowers. She smiled without showing teeth. "You came," she said. I swallowed hard. "Do I know you?" Her head tilted. "You will." Then she pointed at the wall behind her. "They are waiting for you." The wall was covered in graffiti, faces, names, strange symbols, but the longer I stared, the more the shapes began to shift. Lines moved, colors bled into each other, and suddenly I was looking at a scene from my own life, me at 12 years old, stealing bread from the corner shop. I stumbled back. "What is this?" I asked. The woman only said, "The street remembers." I wanted to leave, but as I turned, the road behind me had vanished into darkness. Only forward remained. And forward was a maze of flickering lights and shadowed doorways. I heard whispers, stories not meant for me, snippets of secrets from strangers' lives. A man's voice begging for forgiveness. A woman confessing she had hidden the money in the church ceiling. Children laughing, then crying. I realized the street wasn't just showing me my own secrets, it was feeding me everyone's. I passed a tall, thin man leaning against a lamppost. His face was hidden in shadow, but his voice was deep, almost musical. "Once you hear the truth," he said, "you can't unhear it." I didn't reply. I just kept walking. But his words burrowed into my head like ants. The deeper I went, the more the street felt alive. Walls breathed. Pavement paused under my shoes. And then I saw her. A young woman in a bright yellow dress, barefoot, standing in the middle of the road. She was crying. When she looked up at me, I saw the bruises on her face. "Help me," she whispered. I stepped forward, but she took a step back, disappearing into a narrow alley. I followed. The alley was a dead end, but the woman was gone. In her place, a small box lay on the ground. I picked it up. It was carved with the same symbols I'd seen on the graffiti wall. I opened it and nearly dropped it. Inside was my mother's necklace, the one we'd buried with her. That's when I knew this wasn't about random secrets. This street had chosen me. I tried to run, but every turn led me deeper. I saw more visions, things I'd never known but somehow understood instantly. A shopkeeper poisoning his rival's tea. A politician signing a paper that condemned hundreds. A teenager setting fire to his own school. Each secret burned into me, heavy and sharp. My head ached with the weight of them. At the far end of the street, a massive wooden door stood under an archway. It was covered in padlocks, but as I approached, they clicked open one by one. The door creaked, and a blast of cold air hit me. Inside was a hall lined with mirrors. But the reflections weren't mine, they were of everyone I'd seen tonight, caught in the act of their worst sin. And at the very end of the hall, one last mirror waited. I stepped closer and saw myself, not as I was, but as I could become. Older, harder, with eyes that had stopped trusting anyone. A man who carried every secret he'd ever heard. A voice whispered behind me. The street can keep its secrets, or you can carry them. Choose. I turned, but no one was there. I looked back at the mirror, at the man I didn't want to become. And I made my choice. I walked out, past the door, past the old woman who only nodded once, past the broken streetlight, and back into the city that didn't know what hid inside Adewale Street. I've never gone back. But sometimes, late at night, I hear the shadows calling my name again. And I don't answer. If you've ever felt the pull of a place you can't explain, stay away. Some streets remember too much. Some secrets are too heavy to carry. Protect your mind, protect your heart. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss another tale. There are many more streets to explore and more secrets to tell.